Pittwater.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to speak on the Energy Legislation Amendment Prioritising Renewable Energy Bill 2026. This legislation, which amends both the Electricity Supply Act 1995 and the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act 1979, is a necessary structural intervention to secure our state's energy transition. Speaker, power bills are dropping, and as we've heard from other members, the Australian Energy Regulator confirms that prices will be dropping between 3.4% and 7.7% from July. The Australian Energy Regulator has released figures only this week showing that, and the renewables are the reason they are giving for our bills dropping, with wind and battery covering evening peaks being a big contributor to that price drop. We have less spot price volatility. New South Wales household electricity costs are down nearly 8%, and that will equate to about a saving of about $200 per annum for New South Wales small businesses, down 20% up to $1,300 per annum. In addition, we also have the Gen Cost Report, and the Gen Cost Report as recently released indicated also and gave a bit of a price differential between the different types of generation, with at the lowest range $52 per megawatt hour for solar and up to $354 per megawatt hour for black coal. Also, I just wanted to note as well that the Treasurer in his address to the McKell Institute on the 20th of May said, and I quote here, "The number of renewable energy projects now under construction, combined with all transmission lines and grid connections currently being fixed, extended or upgraded, explains why New South Wales economy is set to avoid a recession." We must also recognise, however, that New South Wales has been a planning approval nightmare for achieving the Renewable Energy Transition Plan, which, as others have noted, was developed by the former Liberal government, inherited and adopted by the current government. And it's this economic reason why this bill is needed. A report in 2025, at the end of 2025, noted that little to no projects had been commissioned in New South Wales during that year due to the high degree of cost and complexity and the lengthy planning and environmental assessment processes associated with onshore wind projects in particular. In November 2025, the findings of the Clean Energy Investor Group pointed out that in 2024, New South Wales absorbed 66% of the NEMS, the National Electricity Market's congestion impact, and renewable curtailment was heavily concentrated in New South Wales at 33%. Delaying critical transmission upgrades prevented us from supplying an additional 17% of annual demand with low-cost, zero-emissions power. This isn't just an issue for our economy, it's also an issue for our investors, for homeowners, for businesses wanting clean and cheaper energy. And it is a crisis because if we fail to roll renewables out to replace the coal-fired power stations that are closing, we will be in trouble. And coal-fired generation is coming to an end. The retirement schedule is fixed. The market has decided because coal-fired generation is simply too expensive. We must replace that capacity in the grid. 3 of New South Wales's 4 remaining coal-fired power stations will be offline by 2033 and the last by 2040. As others have mentioned, it is a timely reminder this week that we witnessed the demolition of the 2 170-metre stacks of the Hunter Valley Power Station. Meanwhile, demands continue to grow and we're seeing increased demand from data centres on the electricity grid, something that we knew was coming for a while but only recently appeared in the ISPs as well. Let us be clear about the economic realities and the energy realities that we are facing. The question before this House is not if we transition, but whether we manage that transition efficiently, effectively, or whether we allow systemic bottlenecks to jeopardise our grid. Every month we delay renewable projects, we effectively mortgage the economic future of New South Wales's next generation. It is the opposition's roadmap, yet we see the Liberals and Nationals splitting on its very delivery. We have had bipartisan agreement for renewable energy, and that is good. And that is what is actually needed to unlock private capital and drive investment in our economy. And I note members here have said it's the investors in the renewable energy companies are multinational or international companies, but there are many Australian companies and also Australian superannuation that need to invest and are investing in this section of our economy. And if parties say they are good and stand for business and for the economy, then they must stand for regulatory certainty and stability. In Pittwater, my constituents do understand that environmental stewardship and economic efficiency must work in tandem. And recently, a renewable energy developer, who's also connected to my electorate as well, they're not an international company, they're an Australian one, highlighted the structural barriers that we're speaking about in this bill today. One of their projects, 7 years in the planning system. It could have been 24 months longer and cost them up to $2 million more had it gone to the Land Environment Court. Major investors left and waned off New South Wales as an investment area completely. One of the delays not dealt with in this bill that they brought to my attention are the delays occurring when over 50 submissions trigger an independent planning commission. I know that historically it was 25 submissions, although under the former previous Liberal government, they did make it harder for those objections and increase that trigger to 50. There's no doubt that every single local and community member impacted should have their voices heard and be consulted properly and sharing community benefits, and those local voices should be prioritised. But the point is, this trigger should only apply to local objectors, not ones from interstate or from overseas. Yet many objectors to some of these projects are not local to the project. New South Wales has become a distinct outlier in regulatory lag. The assessment timeline for onshore wind projects now averages 3,488 days, nearly a decade per project. The revised wind energy guidelines failed to resolve the core statutory triggers that drive these delays. As I mentioned, the Clean Energy Investor Group's report has starkly warned of not only the regulatory drag on emissions targets, but also investor certainty. Industry modelling indicates that these planning delays and subsequent merit appeals add approximately $20 million annual holding cost to a standard 150 megawatt or $400 million project. Prioritising projects that are well developed and ready to deploy is good governance, and as the member for Coogee noted, we must cut through the misinformation and establish a sensible framework to ensure wind, solar and hydro generation can advance rapidly and put downward pressure on wholesale prices. I note also that other members and the Minister has acknowledged 169 renewable projects which are currently gridlocked in the planning system, and this bill ensures capital-ready projects are triaged effectively. I want to also acknowledge concerns raised by the Nature Conservation Council, particularly in regards to gas firming being included in this bill, and have called for the Minister of Environment to publish justifications for any declarations made. And I welcome assurances that I've been given that the prioritisation process will be transparent with public notification limited to firming. I wanted to finally quote again with the Clean Energy Council, who summed it up in their 2025 report, stating, "Our annual snapshot of clean energy transition paints a picture of both enormous momentum as renewables grow to account for 43% of Australia's electricity, but a real urgency as investment falls to one of the lowest levels in a decade. There is absolutely no doubt that we need better community benefits, and from all the regional members who are speaking today, every one of their concerns should be addressed. Communities deserve better consultation. They deserve bad players not to be allowed to have bad practices. We need more work to be done to ensure benefit sharing is legislated. And that as the climate changes, as these projects may bring alternative revenue sources, that any sources that cause problems in the community or undermine land property values also be addressed. Community benefits must be the next thing that we focus on in this place to deliver for those regional communities. I commend the bill to the House."
Thank you. And